Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I would like to say thank you for coming to my presentation. It's great to see you all. Let me introduce myself. My name is Khoirunnisa. I am a student of Pancasakti University. Okay, my friend, in this presentation we will discuss about teaching and testing. Many language teachers harbor a deep mistrust of tests and of testers. The starting point for this book is the admission that this mistrust is frequently well-founded. It cannot be denied that a great deal of language testing is of very poor quality. Too often language tests have a harmful effect on teaching and learning and fail to measure accurately whatever it is they are intended to measure. Teaching definition: a process of passing explained information on given subjects or disciplines that are worthwhile accept as valid. It is the activity that helps students to achieve the objective of the lesson, course, syllabus, or curriculum. Test definition: the types of activities that all you to see of the students have achieved the objective of the lesson, course, syllabus, or curriculum. Test is one of the procedures that can be used to assess students' performance. It has a specific objective to measure. Westback or backwards, the extent to which a test influences language teachers and learning to do things they would not necessarily otherwise do, that promote or inhibit language learning. Negative feedback: students were practicing exam techniques rather than language learning activities. Tests may fail to reflect the learning principle of or the course objective. Students might not be able to learn real-life knowledge, but instead learn discrete points of knowledge that are tests. Positive feedback: tests induce teachers to cover their subjects and complete their syllabi within the prescribed time limits. Tests motivate students to work harder, to have a sense of accomplishment, and the sciences learning. Preparing learners for tests. There are two types of preparation. The first type is designed to familiarize learners with the item types on the test, the kinds of instruction they will encounter, and give them practice in working within time limitation. This type of preparation reduces the chance that scores will be affected by their unfamiliarity with any aspect of the test. The second type is designed to encourage the scores of the test taker by instilling test-taking techniques that focus upon the test item, rather than improving the learner's ability on the contracts in question. For example, by spending time looking at the option in multiple choice items to discover how frequently the longest option is likely to be the correct response. The type of preparation distracts learners from the real task of learning. Language abilities are not easy to measure. We can't expect a level of accuracy comparable to this of measurements in the physical science. Why are tests inaccurate? There are two main sources of inaccuracy. One, this concern test content and test techniques. Two, the lack of reliability, or a test is reliable if it measures consistently. Unreliability has two origins. The first is the interaction between the person taking the test and features of the test itself. As a result, we expect some variation in the scores a person gets on a test, depending on when they happen to take it, what mood they are in, how much sleep they had the night before. The second origin of unreliability is to be found in the scoring of a test. Scoring can be unreliable in that equivalent test performance are accorded significantly different score. Testing. Function of testing. Testing is the only way in which information about people's language ability can be gathered. And now look at here, there are three assessments. First, formative, second, summative, and the last, assessment. Difference between formative and summative. Formative, teachers use it to check on the progress of their students, to see how far they have mastered what they should have learned, and then use this information to modify their future teaching plans. From informal tests or quiz, simple observation, and the study of portfolios that students have made of their work. Summative assessment is used at, say, the end of the term, semester, or year in order to measure what has been achieved both by groups and by individuals. Here for the reasons given in the previous section, formal tests are usually called for. However, the results of such tests should not be looked at in isolation. The criteria of good tests. Validity. A valid test measures what it ought to be testing. Reliability. A test should provide consistency in measuring the items being evaluated. Practicality. A practical test is easy to administer and to score without wasting too much time or effort. Comprehension. A good test should be comprehensive, covering all the items which have been studied. Relevance. The item of an effective test should measure the desired objectives or achievement. Balance. A practical test evaluates both linguistic and communicative competence. Authenticity. The language of a test should reflect everyday discourse. Why we do test student? Evaluation, prior learning, diagnostic, providing feedback, formative, providing reinforcement, formative, establishing traits, summative, certifying competence, summative, to demonstrate proficiency, certification, to identify needs development, to compare ability performance, to provide useful feedback to students. How can tests help learners or teachers? For learners, assessment reflect the concepts and skills that the teacher emphasizes in class, providing important feedback on their learning progress, helping them identify learning problems. For teachers, helping them identify what they taught well and what they need to work on, i.e. missed test items specify the problem. Maybe the last for me. Thank you for your attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.